The Spectator's leading online article this week titled Aseem Malhotra, Truth Seeker and Truth Teller was written by the Secretary of the Australian Medical Professional Society, Cara Thomas. Cara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Alexandra. Lovely to be here again.
Well, I'm going to begin by reading the first line of your article. You write, and I quote, "It's been said that in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act." Cara, you have been on tour around Australia, one of the medical industry's chief truth tellers. What's it like to finally see the medical community rattling their COVID chains and picking the locks of censorship?
It's been an amazing week and a half, and we've got a little bit more to go. Dr. Malhotra is an amazing communicator, and he's done a huge amount of research, which he's now explaining to the medical community and the public. We've also had the opportunity to go to Canberra and share his knowledge with parliamentarians. So challenging the censorship, challenging or revealing to people what is actually in the evidence, how important informed consent is, how important evidence-based medicine is, and medical ethics to ensuring that we have trust in public health.
Well, in your article, you have described Dr. Aseem as a medical revolutionary, and his tour is called Curing the Corruption of Medicine. Now, just as social and political movements have charismatic figureheads to rally around, is it important for the medical industry itself to have speakers like Aseem to cultivate the idea of medical liberty? Because obviously somebody has to speak first.
I think it's very important, and it came, obviously that line in my article came after in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. So the fact that Dr. Aseem Malhotra, through an experience of tragedy, and then as he talks about in his talk, there were 3 key bits of information that came to his attention that started him down this track of the search for the truth about the COVID mRNA vaccines. And he went away for 9 months, did a whole lot of research. He's been a public health campaigner for a long time, so Big Food and Big Pharma. He did a talk in the EU Parliament, I believe it was, called Big Food, Big Pharma, Killing for Profit. And then he wrote a 2-piece article in the Journal of Insulin Resistance called Curing the Pandemic of Misinformation, and talking about how there's been almost a corruption of academia. Professor Ian Edis wrote an article called The Misinformation Mess. He's also spoken about how much our regulators are now funded by industry, with the TGA being the worst at 96% funded by industry, and the influence that this possibly has on health policies. So Dr. Malhotra has both the research background and the evidence base, and so he's got the brains, but he also has the gift of being able to articulate and communicate this information very well and bring people together. So it's critically important for someone like him to step up and build courage.
Yes, well, the funding of the regulators by the pharmaceutical company is not an issue consigned to Australia. It has been a question that has been asked all around the world. And whilst they all maintain that they remain independent, it is still something that has warranted several senators to ask questions about whether or not this needs to be looked into more carefully. Now, what has it been like, Cara, on the ground being part of this tour? As you pass through the crowds, have you heard their stories or felt some kind of public relief that the quiet parts of the COVID era are finally being said aloud and on a stage, more importantly?
Yes, well, there's a lot of energy, a lot of people that are very grateful that this is happening, that it's being raised both in Parliament and in the media. You may have seen his Outsiders interview, which went viral. And that's critically important. It was interesting to note that not long after, Brendan Murphy came out and said that, in his opinion, mandates are no longer justified. And he also raised the fact that early on, when they believed that it stopped transmission, not that if you read any of the government reports that I have found anywhere, FDA, TGA, the AusPars, I can't find anywhere where it says that they were ever tested for or prevented transmission. And then during this tour, we've also highlighted the Australian health professionals that are speaking up, but also the vaccine-injured community, and given them a platform to share their stories.